Before there were gods, before Zeus, before Olympus, before the world itself, there was only chaos. From this chaos rose creatures so powerful, so terrifying, that even the gods feared them. A war between titans that reshaped the universe. A rebellion that birthed the Olympian gods. And a prophecy that foretold the fall of Zeus himself. This is not the Greek mythology you learned in school. This is the untold, brutal, cosmic origin story from the birth of the universe to the end of Olympus. Greek mythology does not begin with gods, it begins with nothing. In the beginning, there was only chaos, a swirling, formless void, not darkness, not space, just an endless, gaping potential. From this primordial emptiness, the first beings emerged. Gaia, the earth itself, a foundation for all life. Tartarus, the deep, dark abyss, a pit of punishment and despair. Eros, the primal force of creation and desire. And from chaos also came Nyx, the embodiment of night, and her brother Erebus, darkness itself. Alone, Gaia brought forth Uranus, the sky, who covered her completely. Together, they became the first divine couple, giving birth to a new generation of powerful beings, the Titans. This was the genesis of the oldest and most influential mythological family in Western civilization, a dynasty built on power, fear, and cosmic ambition. Uranus and Gaia had 12 children who would become known as the Titans. Among them were Kronos, the youngest and most cunning, Rhea, his future queen and sister, Oceanus, who personified the endless waters encircling the world, and Hyperion, the Lord of Light. But their family life was far from peaceful. Uranus grew to despise some of his other children, the monstrous Cyclopes and the hundred-handed giants. Fearing their immense power, he imprisoned them deep within the earth, inside Gaia herself. Gaia's anguish was immense, and her heart filled with a burning desire for vengeance. She forged a massive, unyielding sickle from the hardest adamant and presented it to her Titan sons, calling for one to rise up against their father. Only one dared to answer the call, Kronos. He lay in wait, ambushed Uranus, and with one swift, brutal strike, he castrated his father and seized control of the cosmos. This was the very first divine coup in Greek mythology, a violent transfer of power that set a bloody precedent for generations to come. And it would certainly not be the last. Kronos now sat on the throne as the supreme ruler of the universe. But this newfound power came with a terrible curse. His own dying father, Uranus, had uttered a prophecy. Just as Kronos had overthrown his father, so too would one of his own children overthrow him. This warning haunted Kronos, consuming him with a deep-seated paranoia. To prevent the prophecy from coming true, he resorted to an act of unspeakable horror. Every time his wife, Rhea, gave birth, Kronos would seize the newborn infant and swallow the child whole. One by one, the future gods were consumed and imprisoned within their father's stomach. Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, Hera, the future queen of the gods, Hades, the lord of the underworld, and Poseidon, the ruler of the seas. Rhea was devastated, her heart broken by the loss of her children. When she became pregnant with her final child, she devised a desperate plan to save him. She fled to the remote island of Crete and gave birth in secret. Then, she returned to Kronos, but instead of her baby, she handed him a large stone wrapped in swaddling clothes. Blinded by his fear, Kronos swallowed the stone without a second thought. The child, hidden far away, was named Zeus. While Kronos ruled the cosmos in a state of fearful tyranny, Zeus grew up in secret, far from his father's reach. He was raised by gentle nymphs, nourished by the milk of the sacred goat Amalthea, and his infant cries were masked by the rhythmic clashing of shields and spears from his loyal warrior guardians. Zeus grew into a strong and cunning god, biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment to claim his destiny. When he finally came of age, he returned to the court of the Titans, disguised as a humble cupbearer. With the help of the Titaness Metis, he prepared a powerful emetic potion and served it to his unsuspecting father. The effect was immediate and violent. Kronos began to retch, and one by one, he vomited up every god he had ever swallowed, now fully grown and burning with a desire for revenge. The Olympians were free. Kronos' worst fear had become a reality. The stage was set for the Titanomachi, the greatest and most destructive divine war in all of Greek mythology. For 10 long years, the Olympian gods battled the Titans for control of the universe. The conflict was catastrophic. The earth itself shook with the force of their blows, the sky bled fire, and entire mountains were torn from their foundations and turned to dust. But despite their ferocity, the Olympians could not gain the upper hand. The Titans were simply too powerful. Zeus knew he needed a new, decisive strategy. He descended into the darkest depths of Tartarus, the prison where his father had once cast the Cyclopes and the hundred-handed giants. He freed them from their chains, and in gratitude, they forged for him and his brothers weapons of unimaginable power. The Cyclopes crafted the mighty trident for Poseidon, giving him command over the oceans. The helm of invisibility for Hades, allowing him to move unseen. And for Zeus, the master weapon, the thunderbolt. Armed with these new divine armaments, the Olympians launched a final, devastating assault. The hundred-handed giants hurled mountains at the Titan armies like they were mere pebbles. Poseidon's trident churned the seas into a furious tempest, and Zeus's thunderbolt split the sky asunder. Finally, Kronos was defeated. The surviving Titans were cast down into Tartarus, and the victorious Olympians raised their new home, Mount Olympus, as the seat of their power. The age of the Olympian gods had officially begun. Under the reign of Zeus, a new order was established in the cosmos. The gods took their thrones atop Mount Olympus, each with their own domain. Zeus ruled the sky and the heavens, Poseidon ruled the seas, and Hades governed the vast, shadowy underworld. But this new era of peace was fragile and temporary. From the lingering remnants of chaos, new challenges emerged. Vengeful monsters, powerful spirits, and immortal heroes began to populate the world. Prometheus, a titan who had sided with the gods, created humankind from clay, but was later punished brutally by Zeus for daring to give them the gift of fire. The gods themselves found their rule constantly tested by terrifying creatures like Medusa with her petrifying gaze, the labyrinth-dwelling Minotaur, the multi-headed Hydra, and the three-headed guardian of the underworld, Cerberus. In response, a new generation of heroes rose to legendary status figures like Hercules, Perseus, Achilles, and Odysseus, whose epic quests and tragic fates would define an entire age. Greek mythology evolved into a rich, living universe filled with conflict, justice, betrayal, and the inescapable hand of destiny. But even for the all-powerful gods, prophecy is an unbreakable force. Zeus himself once learned of a prophecy that foretold the birth of a child destined to become greater and more powerful than him. Terrified of suffering the same fate as his father, he carefully avoided having a child with the sea goddess Thetis, who was said to be the mother of this future rival. Yet, prophecies always find a way to come true. Some legends suggest that the fall of Olympus came not from a war with monsters or a rebellion of titans, but through a slow, quiet force, the rise of humanity. As humankind's own civilizations grew, as their philosophies and sciences advanced, their belief in the gods began to fade. Temples crumbled, sacrifices ceased, and prayers went unanswered. With the erosion of faith, the power of the gods themselves diminished. The age of Olympus ended not with a bang, but with a profound and deafening silence. Greek mythology is not just a collection of ancient stories. It is the epic saga of the rise and fall of a divine civilization, a timeless reflection of our own human nature, our ambitions, our capacity for rebellion, and our eternal dance with destiny. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more journeys into the myths and legends that shaped our world.